Hi, and welcome to Crazy Rich, the podcast where Sabrina and I take you on a wild ride uncovering fascinating companies, visionary founders, or just crazy good ideas we've discovered or been intrigued about. But here's the twist, we're not just telling business stories, we're filtering them through the cultural lens of a multiracial couple who has lived and worked all over the world. That means you'll get insights you won't hear anywhere else. Because how you experience a brand, connect with a founder, or discover companies just isn't the same in New York versus Hong Kong, Munich, or Sydney. I'm Andrew, an Asian who has lived a third of my life in Europe, a third of my life in Asia, Australia, and a third of my life in America.
And I'm a German from Munich originally, who's lived all over the world now, actually. Where have we lived? Like so many places.
Shanghai,
Hong Kong, New York, and now in Sydney, Australia.
From a business perspective, I've been a principal at billion-dollar hedge funds in New York and was part of a founding member team of a private equity fund in Asia that runs over $5 billion now. So given my investor and entrepreneurial DNA, I can't help myself but review these stories with this, how does this business really work filter, or how can I make money from this filter?
That's right. As for me, I'm a social media design and marketing diva, if I say so myself. And I'll explore these stories with this kind of filter in mind, and in the end, how it inspires me.
Absolutely.
Well, given I'm German and Andrew is Asian, we initially explore stories from Europe and Asia, but over time, American and other companies as well.
Yeah, so join us on our global adventure of an ordinary couple discovering extraordinary companies, founders, and ideas to inspire your day.
So why don't we kick off our very first businessy podcast with my very favorite German supermarket of all times.
Brilliant idea, Shad. Let's do it.
So whenever I land in Germany, the very first thing I do is shop at Aldi. If Aldi ever decides to have a global ambassador, I'll be perfect. I'm literally an Aldi girl, true and true. I even got an Aldi tote from Germany. So whenever I go shopping at Aldi Australia, I bring it along and show it off proudly.
That's right.
Don't get me wrong, I do enjoy fancy food shopping wherever I live. Like, for example, Plaza Food Hall in New York City, or Harrods in London, or City Super in Hong Kong. But for my everyday grocery shopping, I always choose Aldi. Whether it's in Germany, New York, Sydney. And here's our story why.
Yeah, the first thing Sabrina and I do whenever we travel, whether to live or for holidays, we go for a jog to get a feel for the layout of the city or a town, right? And
Yes.
after we're hungry, we hit up the local supermarket, which is, by the way, a really great way to get a feel of what life is like a local. Since dating Sabrina, I've been traveling to Germany for 15 years. I've lived there for 3 years, full time, so I have German creds now, for sure. When I first stepped into an Aldi, I was blown away. It's not so much the shop itself, but rather the value of what you get as a consumer. The price to quality ratio is totally out of this world. I mean, you get world class European cheese and cold cuts for €2, bakery items for less than €1, a tub of gourmet Swiss Mövenpick ice cream for €3. Wow.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, I went to boarding school in Dublin, Ireland, so I'm definitely not a foodie. I eat anything, right?
Yeah,
but
you're
wow,
not picky.
I'm not picky after boarding school for sure. But now, wow, the taste and quality is so good at Aldi for so little money. Hands down, German supermarkets in general are some of the world's best for price, quality, and choice. But Aldi has been the only brand to have scaled globally so successfully. So much so that we feel we journeyed with Aldi all around the world, right?
Absolutely.
And imagine this, I only discovered Aldi after dating Sabrina.
What are the perks?
Exactly. So besides being the love of my life, what a bonus.
Let's start with a history lesson of how Aldi actually began. So there are a good number of YouTube videos out there already, so I'm not going to go into too much depth. So I just try to add a bit of my German flavor to the story. So Aldi's roots originated from a humble grocery store in Essen, Germany, and was started by Anna Albrecht in 1913. So the innovation really started after World War II, when the Albrecht brothers, Karl and Theo, took over their mother's store in 1946.
Try and put yourself in their shoes. Karl was only 26 years old, and Theo was just 24 years old. They were just the age young people today will be finishing up college or MBAs or starting their careers. Except here, two young guys coming home to a country defeated in the world's worst war, economically devastated. Imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to understand the context of post-war Germany. The country was essentially economically devastated. The timing couldn't have been more challenging.
Or perfect. Like all successful founders, the Albrecht brothers turned this challenge on its head and saw this instead as the perfect opportunity. People needed affordable essentials, so Karl and Theo capitalized on this by focusing on simplicity and low cost. Hence, they named their new stores Al, the first two letters in Albrecht,
Albrecht, yes.
and D from the word
discount.
Yeah, or discount in English. What did this focus on simplicity and cost really translate to, or how did it impact the consumer experience?
Well, if you've ever been to Aldi, even to this day, the early Aldi stores had no flashy designs. They focused entirely on utility, which aligned perfectly with the customer mindset at that time. They emphasized on staples like bread, coffee, sugar, and cut out any extras like advertising or elaborate layouts and passing on the cost of savings to the customer. What's interesting is how their branding, or lack thereof, mirrored the austerity of the times.
So you're saying they essentially took necessity and turned it into innovation.
Yes.
They turned conventional consumer economics on its head, converting minimalism and utilitarianism into a competitive advantage. German frugality or efficiency at its finest.
Brilliant.
Yeah, so from one store they took over from Mama Albrecht, they expanded it to 13 stores by 1950, and by 1960 there was over 300 stores. Today, Aldi is a global powerhouse with over 12,000 stores across 20 countries, and by far the most successful German supermarket at expanding outside its core German market.
As you can imagine, like many success stories, there are quirks along the way. After reaching 300 stores in 1960, the brothers had to figure out how to grow further without compromising their core values.
Enter the famous cigarette dispute.
You guys are in for a treat. This is an interesting story. So Theo wanted to sell cigarettes to attract more customers, and the brother Karl opposed it, fearing it would tarnish their brand. The quirk was that Karl believed selling cigarettes would bring in shoplifters.
One would think they could have installed security measures around this, but no. The result was something pretty dramatic.
A split into Aldi North and Aldi South. Essentially, Aldi Nord and Aldi Süd in German. So the legend goes, one brother drew the line dividing Germany into North and South, and the other chose which region he wanted North and South. The Germans called this line the Aldi Equator. Isn't that hilarious?
Yeah, too funny.
Theo took North and called it Aldi Nord, and kept its headquarters in Essen.
Which still remains its headquarters to this very day.
Exactly. And Karl took the South, which was named Aldi Süd, with its headquarters in Mülheim. Again, to this very day. So these two Aldi towns, Essen and Mülheim, are only a 25-minute drive from each other. While the Albrecht families lead discreet and private lives, the closeness of the headquarters, their shared business philosophy, has never really wavered. As Aldi fans like myself, we would like to believe there was a good brotherly relationship here.
You know what I find fascinating?
What?
Is how both sides stuck to the same philosophy of extreme efficiency and low prices while expanding independently.
Yeah, why change a winning concept?
Absolutely. It's a testament, though, to the strength of their foundational principles. And that foundation wasn't just about low prices, it was about creating a model that could scale globally. We'll unpack all of that, but first, let's talk numbers. Given Aldi, like many European companies, are private companies, i.e., not publicly traded like Walmart or Costco in the US, we won't get the same granularity on financials. So, we've decided that this financial segment won't be a McKinsey or a investment banker's deep dive, but rather we will focus on giving listeners a feel of its scale, growth, and profitability, and how it stacks up against other global supermarket behemoths like Walmart and Costco. Why Walmart and Costco? While Walmart offers a broader range of products, including many national brands at competitive prices, it's a useful comp here because of its sheer size and scale. It's clearly number one by sales globally. Costco is a better comp as it also similarly offers high quality items at super low prices, but it mainly sells in bulk sizes. All three prioritize cost savings, but Aldi's simplicity contrasts with Walmart's variety and Costco's bulk oriented strategy. But also because Sabrina and I have been regular shoppers at Aldi and Costco while living on the Upper East Side in New York. It was just a 10-minute drive up 3rd Avenue to 117th Street, and we could access both of our favorite stores. Schatz, what was our shopping routine?
Well, we would hit the German Aldi for all my usual pantry staples. We only had one child back then, so it didn't really make sense for us to buy huge amounts of bulk from Costco. So we would wander down to Costco. I love the free food samples, who doesn't? Like the rotisserie chicken, and of course the Kirkland nuts and lots of other goodies. It was a big shop up whenever we did it, but it was cost effective and a fun thing to do at the same time. So we know Aldi and Costco pretty well.
So back to unpacking the numbers. I'm going to focus only on three metrics: sales, growth, and for simplicity, just top line sales growth. And the third is profitability, operating margins. So number one, top line sales. In 2023, Aldi South reported revenues of 83 billion euros.
Wow.
While Aldi Nord came in at 27 billion euros. Aldi Nord's US arm is another $17 billion. And given they operate the same Aldi concept and philosophy globally, we're going to just discuss their financials as one combined company. So that's a total combined sales of 135 billion US dollars in 2023. This makes Aldi the fifth largest supermarket chain in the entire world. It's behind Walmart, which is massive, $648 billion of top line sales, according to the latest annual reports. Costco, $254 billion top line sales, again, according to the annual report. And then the third is another German contender. It's called the Schwarz Group. They own Lidl, spelled Lidl, and Kaufland. So what is Lidl?
So Lidl is actually the direct competitor to Aldi.
Exactly.
It's huge in Germany. So usually the two top discounter would be Aldi, regardless of whether it's north or south, and Lidl.
Yeah, and typically when you go to Germany, you will find them actually side by side. Right?
Pretty much, yeah.
And Kaufland's a bit different. Kaufland is a bit of a hybrid. It's like a hypermarket. So it sells a lot of dry goods, like T-shirts and shorts and toys, as well as some groceries as well.
Yeah, it's a bit more of like a Walmart in my, like, much smaller scale, but
correct. Yeah. But it's large. So it's $173 billion in top line sales, and that's number 3 globally. And number 4 is another American, Kroger, which is 150 billion top line sales. And number 5 comes in Aldi at $135 billion in top line sales. So from a pure sales perspective, this shows you the power of the sheer size of the American economy, which powers companies like Walmart, for example, and Costco. Walmart is 6x Aldi and Costco is 2x Aldi, right? And like I said, the third player is German, with very little differentiation between the Lidl and the Aldi brands. But the Aldi playbook is much more interesting due to its successful expansion globally especially where it matters most, in the US market, the largest market of all. But let's side pocket that for now. Number two, sales growth. So although Aldi is number 5 globally, how fast is its top line actually growing? So here's a comparative overview of the 2024 US sales year-over-year growth for Walmart, Costco, and Aldi. Walmart is a 6% increase from 2023 to 2024. Costco, a 5% top line increase. And Aldi is an 8.7% top line increase. So substantially more than both Walmart and Costco. So not only is Aldi faster growing globally, but it is also the fastest growing supermarket in America. Let's unpack this a bit more. In America, Aldi's been growing by organic growth. They've been opening new stores, new Aldi stores that is, at twice the rate of its next fastest competitor. Aldi opened 100 new stores in 2023 and 87 new stores in 2022. It has also grown by acquisitions. In fact, Aldi South literally just closed its largest acquisition in the US in 2024. They acquired Winn-Dixie and Harvey supermarkets in the Southeast region and Florida, adding 400 stores, representing a 17% increase in their US store print, taking that to 2,800 stores. Boom! Aldi is firing on all cylinders.
Amazing.
Yeah, it really is growing pretty fast, especially in America. And so now we know Aldi is number 5 in sales, but it's growing the fastest out of the top 5. But how profitable is it? So number 3 is profitability or operating margins. So despite being a discount chain, Aldi manages to achieve operating margins very similar to its competitors. Walmart is 4% and Costco is 3% per their annual reports. Based on estimates from various market reports, we find Aldi's operating margins range between 2 and 3%. It's difficult to get exact figures due to the private nature of the company, but it is clear that Aldi has been honing this German-style efficiency into a powerful competitive weapon consistently over the last 75 years and very successfully across multiple markets globally.
I've never felt more proud.
Of your German supermarkets.
Exactly.
I mean, it's pretty interesting that 2 of the top 5 are German supermarkets, right? And the other 3, of course, you'd expect to be American because of the size of the American economy.
And clearly they figured out there's a niche. And I mean, they're growing like steadily, so it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get back to that niche. And that niche is obviously simplicity and low cost. It's different for Walmart. It's different for Costco. And there's definitely a place for it in consumers' hearts like ours. If you drill down with a McKinsey-style analysis, it would rightly reveal that Aldi sustains its operating margins despite lower prices, and sometimes substantially lower prices, by using 90% private labels, only stocking what customers buy, and turning them over way more often than their average competitor. But I like to believe there's truth in the thesis that a lot of amazing companies like Aldi are, in essence, corporate personifications of its founders, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Pretty much. I mean, they're like Albrecht founders. Despite the wealth, they live frugally to this day.
And this has been ingrained into their corporate culture. Their mission wasn't just to build a company, it was a lifelong commitment to giving the customer the lowest possible price. And that's the way Sabrina and I feel about it. Every time we go to Aldi, we feel that Aldi will always give us the best price. Whatever they save in operating costs, they will pass it to us. It's sort of a level of trust, I think, that Aldi has embedded and won and earned from its kind of loyal fans like ourselves.
For sure.
The promise to us is to pass on the cost savings they generate from scale and efficiency, and so far, they have kept that promise, which is a cornerstone of their durability and success.
I mean, you certainly see the founders post-World War II frugality at work here. This German frugality gets cemented in a legend when Theo Albrecht is kidnapped in 1971.
Wow, yeah. Imagine that. This is like a real-life Hollywood drama unfolding in Germany.
Yeah, so when the kidnappers confronted him, they weren't even sure whether they had the right guy, because he was wearing his infamous trademark unassuming and ill-fitting suit. Imagine their faces when they probably expected some Armani suited guy.
Exactly. But it was more than these tatty clothes. The real legend is, while Theo Albrecht was held captive, he negotiated down his ransom from 7 million Deutschmarks, which is approximately 2 million US dollars at the time, or approximately 15 million US dollars in 2024 dollars today.
Just imagine you're like negotiating with your captors.
Yeah,
that takes balls.
Take balls. Pretty insane if you think about it. So close your eyes and imagine being locked up in a wardrobe for 17 days. Either it was his German frugality kicking in, saying to himself, I'm never gonna give these suckers what they want. Or his cool business acumen figuring out how to outsmart his captors. Either way, it makes for a brilliant scene in any Hollywood box office, right?
Yes, I want to watch that movie.
Yeah, especially when the ransom was eventually paid and facilitated by the Bishop of Essen.
Amen. Despite being German, he actually had a surprisingly cheeky side, or at least a wicked sense of humor. So what he did is he tried to claim the ransom paid as a tax deduction. So cost of doing business was this logic. Too funny.
I would love to meet this guy. He's a pretty quirky guy, let's just say.
Absolutely.
So a quick recap. Walmart is 6x larger, Costco is 2x larger, which is probably better comp than Walmart. But Aldi is faster growing at 8.7% versus a 5 to 6%. In my mind, the Aldi business model is the only model that gives both Walmart and Costco a run for its money. For sure, it's not a Walmart or Costco destroyer, but it offers customers a very defined value proposition, creating cult followers like us at scale.
This is the perfect segue to our next segment. What makes Aldi Aldi?
Exactly. What makes Aldi Aldi? So let's see. If we did a Harvard Business School case study, we would probably summarize this as 4 points. Aldi offers simple, more efficient selection of products. Their motto is more choice is not always better. As mentioned before, 90% private labels. Number 3, operational efficiency, passing on cost savings to the customer. And number 4, quirky products, creating cult followers, for example, through the aisle of shame, or the interesting goods that you would find in Aldi that we would typically never find in any other grocery store.
I love the aisle of shame. That's the best part of my Aldi visit.
Exactly. See? Exactly. It's very unique to Aldi.
All these treasures there just waiting to be found.
And it's, if you think of it, it's really only at Aldi. It's pretty interesting. So my first Aldi experience was actually in Germany after Sabrina and I first started dating in 2008.
So usually from the breakfast cereals to jams, or like the yummy cold cuts and cheeses for lunch, marinated meats, or even your favorite Mövenpick ice cream for dessert.
Ooh, I love the Mövenpick ice cream.
Yeah, so whatever you choose tastes amazing and costs very little. That's the secret sauce.
That's right. And really this concept of having a lot of brands of the same item doesn't always suit the customer. Not all customers, right?
Yeah. Aldi is perfect because of the limited choices. So I spend less time making my purchasing decision. And Aldi has pretty much made the decision for me. Because I trust the quality, whatever I put in my cart will be great. I trust it, right? If I'm shopping alone, this means I can finish my shopping in probably half the time versus having to go through 10 different types of peanut butter, like at Whole Foods, for example. And of course, the cost is unbeatably low. Yeah, in this respect, it's a little bit like Costco. We trust Costco, we trust Aldi, that out of the limited choice, that they always offer the customer the best quality. Yes, right? For sure. Yeah. Next, Aldi's reliance on private labels is definitely a cornerstone of its success. Around 90% of its products are Aldi exclusive brands. This allows the company to cut out intermediaries, control costs, and maintain high quality. When I first studied college in Australia, I discovered this supermarket chain called No Frills. I think I might have mentioned it too. No, I still remember it when I first came to Australia. It was like the most unappealing packaging. Yeah, all the products were packaged in black and white. They look exactly the same. And even though I was a student on a budget,
the food always felt kind of cheap and nasty. So some of it perception and some of it probably true. And needless to say, these no-frill stores failed, right?
Yeah, no surprise there.
Yeah, exactly. They actually went bankrupt. At Aldi, they realized that nice packaging and consumer psychology matters. And for a while, I didn't even know they were all Aldi brands, just called different names. Like Golden Vale is Aldi's private label cereal brand. Moser Roth or Chocour.
Chocour,
Exactly,
yes.
like that
And give it a
French
bit-
sounding name.
Exactly, give it a bit of a French flavor to it and make
Exactly.
it sound fancy.
And that is one of their chocolate brands. And they even make their pasta brand sound Italian. It's called Romano. And I think this is like a home run.
Yeah, so over time, Aldi has heavily invested into the design of its private label packaging. Lines like specially selected show that even a discount brand can look premium without alienating budget conscious consumers. The deluxe gourmet line is even smarter, with slightly nicer packaging for slightly nicer products like the truffle infused cheese.
Oh, I love that. I bought a lot of that.
They can mark it up a bit, and the customer like me still feels good about the purchase. Who knew you could get gourmet foods at Aldi?
Exactly, gourmet foods at Aldi, for sure. This isn't just about savings. By owning their brands, Aldi has the flexibility to innovate and meet customer expectations directly. It also differentiates them from the competitors, creating an exclusivity that fosters loyalty. What does this actually mean? Like, give me some examples of that.
So this means Aldi asks manufacturers to produce special products just for Aldi. For example, the Huntington Home Swedish dishcloths, picked up for $4.99 for a pair, were so popular that they sold out within 2 weeks during their initial release. Or the Wahlburgers Gourmet Blend Angus beef burgers. Are you like salivating already? Or come on,
Yeah,
it's
I
like
love my burgers.
yes. So these patties, made from a mix of Angus chuck, brisket, and short ribs,
Ooh,
were highly praised for their rich and juicy flavor.
that's a great mix, actually.
Yeah, priced at $6.99. Imagine that for a 4-pack. They offer great value compared to the other stores where they can cost up to $11.99. So shoppers often buy them in bulk due to their popularity. In the US, it has created a cult following of shopper fans.
I think our kids loved it. It was the best burgers they've ever had.
So juicy. So this approach not only differentiates Aldi in the marketplace, but also ensures that customers have access to products they can't find elsewhere, enhancing the store's appeal and customer loyalty.
You know, let's not forget the wine accolades as well. Aldi produces some private label wines which are not only world class, but best in class. For example, Aldi's wines have won numerous global awards despite its sub $10 price range. Aldi wines have garnered significant acclaim in prestigious wine competitions. For example, Decanter World Wine Awards 2024. Aldi's wines achieved notable success. The specially selected Cremant de Jura Brut 2019 received a silver medal with 93 points. In the Product of the Year Awards 2024, Aldi's Balletti Prosecco was honored with the wine category winner. This Italian sparkling wine was only $8.99.
Wow, I think a San Pellegrino is more expensive than that.
If you don't believe it, just check out your closest Aldi store and try out their wines.
Yeah, and here's another great story. We are not wine snobs, but we do enjoy our expensive wines, especially when living in Hong Kong, where there are no alcohol taxes. You're incentivized to enjoy your Petrus, Chateau Margaux, Brunello, and so on. So around $100 a bottle for the right occasion is well worth it. But when we lived in Germany for 3 years, I decided to try out the Aldi wines, and I fell in love with this Austrian red grape Zwiegelt. It was so smooth and always drinkable flavors of berry, cherries, and low tannin and medium acidity levels meant it was so versatile and paired really well with my truffle cheese from Aldi.
That's right.
And anything else, really. Guess how much a bottle costs in Germany?
You guys won't believe it.
It's €3 a bottle.
So the entire 3 years we lived in Germany, we ditched all our other wines and we drank only this red wine. So you should definitely hurry down to Aldi and try it out. Here's another fun fact. Did you know that Aldi is the largest wine retailer in Germany?
No way, I didn't know that.
Yeah, pretty amazing, right? So not only does it produce award-winning wines at a sub-$1 price, it's actually the largest wine retailer in Germany as well.
Yeah. So the final point is one that is really, really unique to Aldi. I love what the American Aldi fan shoppers have called it in their Facebook group. I mean, we revealed some of it already, but it's called the Isle of Shame. Let's dive a bit deeper.
Yeah, that's right. It's actually called Aldi's Finds, but I totally agree. The Isle of Shame is a way cooler name.
So I feel like the concept originated from the German Wühltisch, which is what we had growing up, which translates into bargain bin. Although clearly Aldi has innovated its own twist on it. The origin of the term Isle of Shame is unclear, but it has become a popular phrase among Aldi enthusiasts. The concept has inspired dedicated online communities such as the Aldi Isle of Shame community on Facebook, where members share their latest finds or reviews and shopping experiences. These groups have amassed large followings, with some boasting over 3.3 million members.
3.3 million members.
Yeah.
Huge.
So members of these communities often express their fondness for the Isle of Shame, sharing excitement over unique products and the thrill of discovering unexpected bargains. I mean, I may or may not have posted some findings myself.
I love that. The first time I went to an Aldi store in Germany, I was like, wow, this is so weird. They're offering 30-meter garden hoses next to the olive oil aisle. Remember, like I yelled over once, just like, this is...
How does this
work? Yeah. The kids' toys were next to the pasta aisle. Like, what? Then I grew to like it, actually.
No, because it's not always the same. It's like changes every week, right?
Yeah, they keep it
They keep us on our toes.
And they keep it interesting. And frankly, with the time savings, right? Like our shop up time probably is cut down by 30%, just because we don't have so many items to go through.
Well, we spend it all at the Isle of Shame, the remaining time.
Yeah, and so we use these time savings to peruse for fun and quirky items in this Isle of Shame. And for the Asian in me, it's the thrill of the hunt, right? I pick up, like, my ski gear there.
Yeah, how many times did I have to drag you away? I'm like, we don't need those things.
That's right. But it does spice up the shopping experience, that's for sure. While it might seem out of place in a grocery store, the strategy is highly effective. It's a clever way to engage customers. Quirky items often become conversation pieces, helping the brand stay top of mind. And it's also worth noting, me being the numbers man, that this strategy actually contributes significantly to Aldi's bottom line.
Yes. As you mentioned already, Aldi brings out seasonal gear just the right time, like the ski gear, right? So we buy all our snow and ski gear there. It's really affordable and good quality.
Yeah, it's honestly, it's like unbelievable. You just go there, you pick up all your ski gear for the season for the boys, from helmet to goggles,
gloves,
and all the clothing, thermals,
ski
right?
Socks.
And you're done. Like, it's perfect. And then off we are to the Italian or Austrian Alps that winter with the kids, right?
Yeah. So here's a quick recap of what makes Aldi Aldi. A simpler, more efficient selection of products. More choice is not always better.
Aldi's superpower, the 90% private labels.
And quirky products creating a cult following, like the Isle of Shame.
Which is only found at Aldi. But here's a final fun anecdote to add to the list. A Sabrina and Andrew arbitrage special. So when we were in Germany, Aldi would run these country-themed weeks. So it'll be Italian week, there'll be more Italian products, or Greek week, there'll be more Greek products. And around Chinese New Year, there would be Asian week, right? Where there would be more Asian products. There'll be noodles and, oyster sauce and dumplings. But one thing that they had in their frozen aisle was Peking duck. So Germany actually has a lot of duck.
Correct, especially around Christmas.
Because there's this whole hunting culture there. And so there's good duck meat to be offered to consumers. And so the Aldi must have thought, we package this up and make it Peking duck, which is probably one of the most loved dishes out of Asia. Yeah,
right? With hoisin sauce,
you love it every time you're in Hong Kong, we have it.
But the funny thing is, the Germans didn't know what to make of it, at least where we lived, right? We lived quite remotely and quite far from the city, so there were very few Asian people around. to actually purchase those.
So we noticed it was being offered for €7.99. Let's call that $9 for probably 6 pancakes along with sauce and
a quarter of a duck.
And a quarter of a duck.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the Asian week, the entire frozen section was still full. No one had bought a single item, right?
Yeah, frozen shelf is expensive, right, to keep things around. So they happily discounted after a certain period of time.
That's right. So towards the end of the week, they discounted it. And they really discounted it at the end, right? So we figured out they discounted it from $7.99 down to €1.99, and even right at the end, probably 99 cents.
And that's where we came in and we cleared it out.
So this is the German Asian power working together.
Exactly.
We waited till the end of Asian Week, and then we just lifted probably 20 boxes of Peking duck at 99 cents into our freezer. The cashier was probably stunned. It's like, whoa, that cleared it out.
I think he was quite grateful to have that freezer shelf back.
Yeah, that's right. But I tell you, the Peking duck was awesome though. You stick it in the oven, right? Yeah. And it comes out nice and crispy. Yeah. And that was our Sunday special lunch with the kids, right?
Yeah.
Peking duck. And it tasted just like Hong Kong.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, Peking duck in northern Germany. There you go.
Exactly. So there you go. A very special Andrew Sabrina arbitrage story here about Peking duck. Who knew you'd find that on an Aldi episode? Now let's turn to Aldi's global expansion and localization. So Aldi's global journey started in Austria with the acquisition of Höfer in 1967, 20 years after the brothers took over their first store. And of course, they naturally expanded in Europe first, but only 9 years after, in 1976, they make the super important decision to enter the US market, the world's largest consumer market. Here's what is super interesting about Aldi's entry into the US market. It was truly brilliant from both a business strategy perspective, but also from a cultural perspective of two brothers trying not to directly compete while staying true to their foundational business philosophies. What did they do?
Yes, so it was a different strategy from the European expansion, where the brothers essentially carved up Europe geographically, so they don't directly compete.
Correct, the Aldi equator, right?
Correct.
And they also carved up European countries. They don't compete.
European equator.
Correct, the European equator. But in the US, it was different. Aldi Süd entered under its own brand, Aldi. And although its first store was in 1976 in Iowa, today Aldi operates 2,400 stores across the US, generating approximately $40 billion in sales, accounting for 40% plus of Aldi's South sales globally and double its revenues of its home market in Germany. It started off with its Midwest focus in Iowa, expanding through states like Illinois, Indiana, Ohio. The regional focus enabled efficient supply chain management and brand recognition. And building on this Midwest success, Aldi then moved into the eastern states, including Pennsylvania and New York. That's why we have this Aldi store in New York City, right?
We're there at the right time.
But they also adapted its store formats to cater to diverse consumer preferences. And then, the most recent acquisition just happened in 2024, where it closed the acquisition of Winn-Dixie and Harvey Supermarkets, adding, 400 more stores to its footprint. Aldi North, though, chose a very different path. Instead of opening up stores in its own name and competing directly with Aldi Süd, which obviously was not the strategy, they acquired another company. Schatz, can you guess what company they acquired? Because when we lived in New York, we actually shopped at this store, unknowingly that we didn't know it was actually owned by Aldi Nord.
I have no idea. Tell me.
Trader Joe's.
No way.
Yeah.
What? Trader Joe's?
Yeah, crazy, right? It was such a smart strategy if you think about it. They both wanted to enter the US market because they knew the US market was going to be a huge market. They had the same business philosophies, but they didn't really want to directly compete. So essentially, Aldi Süd entered the US market as its own brand, and Aldi Nord basically acquired Trader Joe's.
This is so interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting for sure. It's actually not just interesting, it's brilliant because they have the same business philosophy but different brands. So Trader Joe's also had this concept of, low price and offering customers unique products, right? So now both Carl and Theo could take on the US market and not directly compete. And this strategy has been super, super successful for both of them. Today, Trader Joe's revenues are approximately $17 billion, pretty much equal with Aldi Nord's German market revenues, right? Yeah. So, and also about 40% of Aldi Nord's global revenue. So the US market has been a home run success for both Aldi Süd and Aldi North.
Yes, and kind of now it makes sense because I did find Trader Joe's branded nuts before in my local Aldi in Germany.
That's right, all the way up in North Germany, in fact, right? Yeah, exactly. And we were trying to figure out why it was turned up in Aldi Nord.
Solve that mystery.
Exactly. Did you know that before I started researching Aldi for this podcast episode, I actually didn't even know Trader Joe's was owned by Aldi.
Neither did I.
So there you go. The Albrecht brothers executed the perfect strategy, specifically perfect for them. They get to both enter the US market but not compete directly. And as fans of both brands, we'd like to think they believe they could operate and expand the pie. While successful today, the path to success initially had its fair share of failures. For example, Aldi Source's first store in Iowa in 1976 closed down after just 1 year. Research indicates that the failure was a result of bringing German-specific shopping practices, such as requiring customers to bring their own bags, clash with American shopping behavior. But, it was Aldi's resilience, ability to adapt, and willingness to change that were the key factors of their eventual success, right? So you can make mistakes.
Yeah.
It's totally fine. The question is, how do you respond and adapt to it, right?
The other thing that's very German or very like Aldi is like having to bring your own coin to get
for these trolleys, card. Right? Yeah, exactly.
That probably didn't fly with Americans.
So just for you listeners' benefit, to get a trolley out of Aldi, you have to first insert a coin, and then you can unlock it, which means that to get your coin back, you got to return your trolley. So it helps Aldi retain its trolleys. So I have very few trolleys being lost or stolen, for example. But at the same time, it requires some effort from the customer, right?
That's so funny. I don't see it like that at all.
I mean, it's an interesting cultural differentiation, like for you, because you've grown up with it, right? This whole concept of putting a coin into a trolley. So it's like, it's a bit of a no-brainer. For the rest of the world, like for me, a bit of an effort. But I do it because I love Aldi, right? Yes. And so it comes with it, so it's totally fine.
It's very orderly.
That's true.
That's a German trait. So besides adapting to their business to the American consumer, this Aldi trait is inherent in other markets as well. What's fascinating is how they've adapted to local markets, say, in Australia. Andrew's parents live in Sydney, so I've been visiting usually once or twice a year since 2010. Aldi works with over 1,000 Aussie businesses to produce for their private label brands. So they produce very Australian-specific local treats, such as Vegemite or meat pies. Andrew, can you explain to the average listener what is Vegemite?
Yeah, that's right. So Vegemite is a salty, umami-flavored spread. It's actually a brewer's yeast extract, a byproduct from beer production. So Aussies, like Germans, love their beer. The Aussies spread the Vegemite on toast like Americans would spread peanut butter, and it is beloved by both kids and adults. You actually used to love it.
When I was pregnant, yes.
That's right, actually.
But it's one of these things you either love it or you hate it. Aldi's localization didn't just stop at the Aussie staples, but they also expanded to comfort foods beloved by Australians' migrant population, like xiaolongbao, which is basically a dumpling filled with soup. So with each bite, you get a bit of meat and a mouthful of the broth. And it's been popularized by the famous Taiwanese restaurant Din Tai Fung, which is one of our favorite restaurants.
Absolutely.
In Hong Kong and Taiwan.
Absolutely. Did you actually know that Din Tai Fung, which is the world's #1 dumpling restaurant in my mind, just opened in New York City this past July 2024?
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it's a massive 25,000 square foot restaurant with seating for 450 guests.
Wow, huge.
Yeah, it's huge actually. So next time we in New York, we should definitely drop by. So absolutely, Aldi has localized comfort foods for the Australian Asian population. So you can get roti prata and naan, which you can eat with your curries. There's just lots and lots of yummy Asian comfort foods. Again, at super low cost and top taste. The xiaolong pao and the Sichuan dumplings, despite being frozen foods, are so good. Sabrina and I rarely go out for yum cha anymore with the kids unless it's to celebrate a birthday or something, right?
Yeah.
So Aldi's ability to localize is definitely one of its key success traits and has won customers' hearts in local markets.
Yeah, all while staying true to its low-cost model. I mean, remember when we first visited Australia and we went to the local supermarkets, Coles and Woolies? Oh my God!
You were totally blown away.
Oh my God, I was so shocked how expensive basic staples were. It was like $5 for a loaf of bread. And that's just normal white or wholemeal bread. Not even the fancy sourdough or anything.
$4 for honey.
And $15 for meats for the entire family of 4. I mean, it's just insane.
And that was until
Aldi entered the market.
Yeah, I mean, it was really that dramatic. If you think about it today, one of the biggest issues for voters with the government is just the price of everyday Australian staples.
Cost of living. Yeah.
Cost of living, yeah, essentially, right?
As a German, I was actually proud of Aldi. The pricing of bread dropped to $2.50 to $3, jams to $3, and a reasonable $10 for meat for the family. Basically, the staples.
Yeah, I mean, and the price drop was truly dramatic, including the competitive response from Coles and Woolworths as well. So thanks to Aldi, it totally disrupted the cozy supermarket duopoly of Coles and Woolworths, which have a combined 65% market share in Australia. And unfortunately, I think these two supermarkets have been sticking it to the Aussie consumer for years, until the ACCC, which is the Aussie anti-competition regulator, initiated legal proceedings against them in 2024 for overpricing their goods. Aldi hasn't completely cracked the code in Australia, I think, right? Which we will elaborate further in the episode, but it has clearly earned the right to be called the disruptor.
Yes.
Right? Bringing cost benefits to the everyday Aussie consumer.
Yeah, if you'd asked me whether I would want to shop at Aldi in Australia or Germany or US, I'd probably prefer the German
and the
Aldis,
US. Yeah. I think the competitive response from Coles and Woolworths has been particularly strong.
Mm-hmm.
And they also produce private labels now to compete with Aldi's private labels at a lower price point. Yeah. But having said all that, Aldi has been extremely successful in Australia. It has almost 600 stores all over Australia and is a number 3 player with an impressive 10% market share. I mean, that's like a home run, really, right?
Yeah, definitely not to be discounted.
Absolutely.
Pun intended.
Pun intended, yeah.
Another market Aldi disrupted was the UK, which is now their 3rd largest market. Schatz, you lived in London before we met. What was your experience with Aldi UK?
Yeah, you're right. Aldi has also similarly done really well in the UK. Now it's the number 3 player, as you say, right? I don't have actually much first-hand experience in the UK Aldi because there were no stores where I lived in Notting Hill and Knightsbridge. And given we'd like to focus this podcast on where our cultural backgrounds and actual experience offer listeners some special insight, I'll just make a simple summary of Aldi's UK success. So Aldi opened its first store in the UK in 1999, taking on their entrenched incumbents like Tesco's and Sainsbury's. It now operates over 1,000 stores and is the number 4 player, capturing 10% market share, generating over $20 billion in sales. So again, a raging success for this dark horse discounter. Here's a recap to illustrate how successful Aldi's international expansion is. US market is now their number 1 market, comprising $40 billion top-line sales of the Aldi brand, $17 billion from Trader Joe's, so that's approximately $57 billion in top-line sales. Number 2 is their home market in Germany, $40 billion of sales. Number 3, the UK, just over $20 billion of top-line sales. And number 4, Australia, about $5 to $6 billion top-line sales. It's pretty impressive if you think how a brand from Germany has been able to break into markets like the UK and Australia and the US and have such significant market share. I tell you what's also interesting. Like many post-World War II companies run by frugal-minded founders, Aldi's expansion has only been funded by profits. They have taken on zero debt. If you think about it, that's really unbelievable considering how large this company is, right? It's 150 billion plus in sales and expanded out of Germany with just reinvesting profits.
Impressive.
It's super, super impressive. There are actually other European companies of scale that have shared a similar trait, and it's exactly because of how frugally minded their founders are.
IKEA comes to mind.
Absolutely. IKEA, the world's largest and probably most famous furniture store, and probably the only furniture store that could be called a global furniture store, started by Ingvar Kamprad, and he also only expanded with zero debt, only with profits.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's pretty unbelievable. So there are two amazing things about Aldi's expansion: how successful it has been, and also how they funded it.
Right. Anyways, let's talk about marketing, especially social media.
Absolutely. This is totally up your alley. It's your forte. This is all you.
We're talking about Aldi's hidden superpower. It's genius social media marketing. From viral Twitter wars to influencer collaborations, Aldi is redefining what it means to be a discount retailer in the digital age.
Yeah, I think to me that's the key. How they redefined being not just any ordinary retailer, a discount retailer through social marketing.
Yes, absolutely.
Social media marketing.
And of course, we have to start with a hashtag free Cuthbert campaign. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I have actually. It's a pretty interesting one.
So this is the one where Aldi turned a lawsuit from Marks and Spencer into a viral phenomenon. And it wasn't just a PR move. It was a masterclass in digital brand building.
For our listeners outside the UK, let me provide you some background. Marks and Spencer's is one of the UK's longest running and well-known retailers. Marks and Sparks, we used to call it when I was a teenager at boarding school in Ireland. And they've been producing their iconic Colin the Caterpillar cake, which is a chocolate roll cake, filled with buttercream and covered in chocolate since 1990, actually. And their Christmas version is like an iconic version that lots of families buy for their Christmas celebrations. Aldi created a similar version and called it Cuthbert. Marks and Sparks sued Aldi in 2021, claiming trademark infringement and sparking what turned out to be kind of a pretty humorous legal and marketing battle that attracted pretty widespread public attention, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty hilarious if you follow along. So instead of backing off, Aldi diffused a tense situation by owning it.
Yeah, that's right.
They essentially were like, we knocked off your beloved Colin the Caterpillar, and brilliantly used social media to create memes, hashtags, and charity cakes. It was everywhere. Because it was tongue-in-cheek, Aldi managed to establish Cuthbert the Caterpillar as a symbol of rebellion rather than a cheap knockoff. It created a cultural moment. I'm living for those moments. And if that wasn't enough, Aldi followed up with a cheeky party app featuring Cuthbert and Colin the Caterpillar as rivals. But it's not just about the cakes and hashtags. Aldi has also mastered the art of influencer marketing. Let's talk about the collaborations with Tommy Fury.
Tommy Fury? You mean the Love Island star pro boxer guy?
Yes, that was a surprising yet brilliant move. The Aldi Mania hoodies promoted by Tommy Fury were highly successful. And in April 2021, Aldi launched its first branded clothing range. Aldi Mania featuring hoodies, hipsters, and pajamas. Tommy Fury promoted the hoodies on Instagram, receiving 167,000 likes within just 2 days. The hoodies were priced at £14.99 and sold out within minutes when they first went on sale. It was a huge success. Yeah. So actually the Germans do quite like their sweaters and their hoodies. And
it was really a genius because Tommy isn't just a random celebrity. He has a massive social media following that connects Aldi's core audience and young families, budget-conscious millennials, the people who love a little bit of humor with their shopping. The campaign in the end wasn't just about selling products. It was about storytelling. Tommy wasn't just promoting Aldi, he was embodying the brand. Affordable, approachable, and of course, like a little bit cheeky.
Yeah, plus the timing was spot on. With the holidays being such a competitive time in retail, pairing a trending influencer with a feel good campaign gave Aldi the buzz it needed to stand out at the time.
It's also a testament, I think, to Aldi, although it's a discount retailer, ability to stay relevant. By teaming up with Tommy Fury, they showed they can adapt to trends and leverage influencers who resonate with these younger audiences.
Yeah, that's right.
Who would who would shop at Aldi,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. And let's not forget the halo effect. I mean, Tommy's fans didn't just watch the campaign, they engaged with it, shared it, and even connected it to Aldi's other initiatives, like the Isle of Shame, and made Aldi part of their lifestyle, really, not just their grocery list.
Right, exactly. And that's the magic of Aldi's marketing. Whether it's a viral hashtag, an animated carrot, or a Love Island star, Aldi knows how to make people laugh, connect, and shop. And the best part, they do it all without losing their brand identity.
So, what's the takeaway for all the marketeers out there? Aldi proves that even a discount retailer can feel aspirational if you know how to tell the right story. Whether it's through a caterpillar cake fight or Tommy Fury delivering your Christmas dinner.
That's right, exactly. So, what are our thoughts about Aldi's future? Let's see. Given our journey through the last 15 years of being Aldi shoppers from Germany to New York to Sydney, we have enough creds to share our own insights and how you could enjoy your own Aldi adventure. First things first, for you Asians like me or Americans that haven't visited Germany, you should totally work it into your next Europe trip.
So it could be a simple 2 to 3 days or even spend a weekend. And here are my favorites. First, you hit up my hometown in Munich for Oktoberfest. Enjoy the beer and enjoy the festivities. It's super fun for a group of friends, couples, or even families. Or you come for Christmas and enjoy the most authentic Christmas markets in the world. Have a pretzel and a mug of Glühwein. All major cities like Hamburg, Berlin, and of course Munich are stunning, but even smaller towns as well.
And while you're there, hit up the German supermarkets, upper end ones like Edeka and Rewe, and the discounters like Lidl and of course Aldi. Our email is listed in the episode description below, or you can comment on our website. We'd love to know what your experience was like. Tell us if your experience was the same wow factor I had when I first visited Germany.
Second insight. The Aussie consumer should be forever thankful to Aldi for crushing the Coles Woolworth party.
Absolutely.
There are definitely areas of improvement for Aldi Australia, but they clearly brought down the price of everyday staples for everyone. Coles and Woolworth's competitive response has no doubt been fierce and quite successful, but they had to bring prices down for everyday items. I'm surprisingly proud of my German roots now.
There you go. And a final one from me, Trader Joe's. What a masterful acquisition by Aldi Nord. And they were super smart to let the American management run it as they liked. The result? A fun, innovative supermarket with hip and quirky American vibes while staying completely in tune with Aldi's German foundational principles of private label, low cost, and high quality. I still can't believe that when I was single in New York living in Irving Place in Gramercy, my favorite shop was Trader Joe's, just 5 minutes walk away. And I never even knew it was owned by Aldi. Exactly. Neither, even when we were there together, we were married. We didn't even know it was owned by Aldi then either, actually. I know Trader Joe has chosen to remain only in the US, but here's the what if. What if you could find Trader Joe's in international cities like London or Sydney, either as a pop up within Aldi or separately to spread their good tidings with hip American goodies? I think when they brought Trader Joe's to Aldi Nord in like this small town in Germany where we were during COVID, it didn't really translate. I think it would work in international cities, right? Like London and Sydney. Like they would get the value of a quirky, hip American brand. It would come across better.
I think it didn't resonate with people because people didn't know what to make of the Trader Joe's brand.
In fact, right? Yeah. But I think if you set up a pop-up store, a separate pop-up store, and it was in London, or you think it was in Sydney, I think consumers would actually would like it.
Yeah, would resonate with them.
It would resonate with them, right?
That's it from us for our inaugural episode. We hope my German heritage and our worldwide journey with Aldi brought authenticity and fresh insight to the story of this epic company. Stay tuned for more episodes of this genre. Please follow us and support us by hitting subscribe below or in your preferred streaming platform. Auf Wiedersehen.
And see you soon. So nothing in this podcast episode is paid or sponsored by Aldi or anyone else. These are just our own views based on research and personal experience. Nothing in this podcast constitutes financial advice and is for pure entertainment only. However, Aldi, if you're listening to this podcast and you're looking for a global brand ambassador, you should totally reach out to Sabrina.